It's just stuff. If you lose your house, if you lose your car or your land or all your money, it doesn't matter. It's just materialistic stuff. You can always go out and get more of it. This is something I've been hearing a lot lately, and I think it needs to be discussed. I don't necessarily agree with it, and there's a lot of reasons for that. If you can relate to this, let me know down in the comments below, because this seems to be a pretty big discussion point when talking about divorce, when talking about, just losing your job or the government taking your stuff away or whatever the case may be. We get fixated on the idea that these are just materialistic items and they're replaceable, and that you can just go out and get more of them. You can acquire more stuff, and you don't need to worry about that because there's bigger things in life to worry about. Now, I'm just going to caveat this by saying that I agree with that. 100% I agree with that. And I'll be the first to tell you, because this is something I talk about a lot, is that I think we have a big consumerism problem in this country. We're focused on the wrong stuff. We're focused on materialistic crap. This is a renter's subscription-based, materialistic, commoditized society. And we all run out and we try and buy the nicest thing. We try to have the biggest house. We try to have the most money so that we can keep up with the Joneses. And that's what we're focused on. We buy all this stuff because we think that's what's going to make us happy, until we get all that stuff and we realize that it didn't do anything to make us happy, because we're focused on the wrong stuff. Because instead of focusing on something that brings us meaning, something that gives us a purpose in life, we're focused on all this materialistic stuff. So I'll be the first to tell you that. But that only scratches the surface on this topic, and it doesn't go into the finer details that are being left out when we're talking about just replacing all your things. All right, so let's just talk about a house, because that's a major asset that most people try to obtain at some point in their lives. All right, so let's say that you have this house, and you maybe you've lived there like 10, 15, 20 years, and something happens and that house can potentially be taken away from you. Maybe there's a divorce or something that happens, and maybe you are at risk of losing that through the divorce. And this is where the conversation always comes up. It's just a house. You can replace it. You can get it back. But here's the fundamental problem I have with that. The house is not just a house. That house is a physical representation of years of your life. Because when people buy a house, oftentimes you work your entire life to pay that house off. It's a 30-year mortgage. That is 30 years of your life that you've invested into that house. So when you look past the surface level materialistic aspect of that house, what you'll find is that that house has a lot more value than that dollar amount that is placed on that home. It has a lot more value than it just being a materialistic asset. That house is years of your life. It is blood, sweat, and tears is what that house is. It's a lot of late nights. It's a lot of overtime. It's a lot of stress. And most importantly, it's just a lot of freaking time that is into that house. So if you lose that house, you're not losing the house. You're losing all that time. In some cases, you could be losing 30 years of your life. You just threw it away. Those 30 years that you invested into that home just became null and void. And that really makes you step back and think about the decisions you make in life, because you have to weigh out the risk. Are there certain decisions in life that are worth potentially losing all of that time? Not the house, but all the time. All that, again, the blood, sweat, and tears, the hard work, all the stuff you invested in that home. Is it worth actually risking that? And this could be true for anything. Land especially. Land is a big one because they don't make more land. If you lose your land, you'll never get that land back. The chances of you getting the land back is basically zero. But again, it's not just about the land, even though land is very important. It's about the time. And some people would say it's about the money. Money is time. Most of us, even if you have a business that runs on autopilot and it makes you a ton of money every year, you still have time invested into that business. And if it's not your time, it's somebody else's. So there's still time. There is life being invested into that business to make money. This is true for everything in life. It's the way our society is set up. If you want money, you have to trade time for it, either initially yourself, or you have to find other people that are willing to do that. And this applies not just to tangible objects, but it also applies to non-tangible things, things that you simply can't place value on. Things like peace, things like freedom to do whatever the heck you want. And you think about those things, you think about peace and freedom, those are the most valuable assets that any of us have. And for most of us, we work our entire lives, literally our entire lives, to get peace and to get freedom. So if you're at the point in your life where you have peace, freedom, and happiness, there's a pretty good chance that you've dumped a lot of your life into getting there, that you've put a lot of time and effort into that. And for you to lose that, peace, that freedom to do what you want, and to lose that happiness, that would be a devastating blow for anybody, because those are some of the hardest things to get in life. So for a lot of us, and myself included, I have peace, I have freedom, I have happiness right now. I'm very fulfilled in what I'm doing. And again, I have to weigh the risks. Am I willing to risk what I have, not on the surface level, but down deep, what you don't see? Am I willing to risk that and make choices in my life that could potentially introduce a significant amount of risk and the possibility of those things being stripped from me? And it's one thing if it's stripped from you because of your own doing, like if you sell your car, you sell your house, you sell your land, you make that decision. That's free will. You can do whatever you want in life. But to have it stripped away by factors that are outside of your control because you made the wrong move, you really got to weigh that out. You really got to think about that hard and decide if it's worth it to you. And again, it goes much deeper than what you see on the surface. So when you hear these people talk about, you can just get more stuff. You're right. You can get more stuff. You can get more money. But the translation of stuff is money. And the translation of money is your time and effort. And that's what you really have to think about here. You have to think about your time and effort, because when you lose that, that's something that you cannot get back. Once we've spent that time and we've spent it working towards something to obtain all these things that we've surrounded ourselves with, the things that maybe do actually bring us joy and bring us happiness and fulfillment. Once you spent that time working towards that thing and you have it, that's it. You have that thing, and that thing is a direct physical representation. It is a symbol of you and all the hard work and all the time that you put into it. It's a symbol of your time. And to really drive this home, in case I haven't harped on this enough, because I do think this is very, very important, I want to show you something here. All right, because this little RC car right here, this is a Traxxas Rustler, okay? Now, I bought this RC car in the early mid-90s when these things first came out. This is the OG, original Traxxas Rustler. If you know anything about RC cars, this is the bomb diggity right here. They still make these things, but you can tell it's an old Dodge Ram, back when they were actually Dodge Rams, not just Rams. I still have this thing, and there's a reason why I still have this thing. Because for me to get that RC car, I had to bust my freaking butt, because I've never been handed anything in life. And I wanted that RC car. I used to get the RC magazines and stuff in the mail, and that was the thing I wanted. I wanted that thing more than anything. And I was young. I was like maybe 7, 8 years old or something like that. And again, I've never been handed anything, so my dad was like, if you want this thing, you're going to do work for me, I'm going to pay you. And he didn't pay me much. And the car was like $100 and some bucks, like $120 or something. Back then, that was a lot of money, especially for like a 7 or 8 year old. So what did he do? He gave me a job. And this job was to go out into the forest, all right? My mom and dad live in the middle of the woods, kind of like I do, but it's much more wooded. It's like basically all trees. And he had this little pine forest out there. And there were, 2-foot tall pine trees that were growing. He said, I want you to go out there and I want you to rake this pine forest and keep the leaves out of this pine forest. That's your job. You have to do it every day and make sure there's no leaves in there. Now, mind you, this is in the middle of fall. Okay, I'm a little big kid. Back then, I was extremely scrawny. I was very, very weak. I didn't have any muscle. But I went out there every single day and I raked that pine forest. And I had mounds of leaves that were twice as tall as me every single day. In the rain, in the cold, I was out there every day. I raked so much that my abs were like extremely sore, like I was doing ab workouts or something. I remember being out there crying. I was in tears because it was so hard raking these wet leaves, and my abs were so sore, and I didn't want to be out there, and I was out there for hours every single day doing this, and I was getting paid like pennies on the dollar. But the point here is that experience is in that RC car. It's a representation of the lessons I learned about the value of hard work. And that experience is something that has shaped me into the person I am today. That work ethic that I developed back then, for me being able to bust my butt and see the fruits of my labor in that RC car, the thing that I wanted more than anything. And I saw that when I busted my butt and I did the thing, and I got paid for it, and I was able to get exactly what I wanted, that's something that is 100% invaluable. It cannot be replaced. You can't put a dollar amount on it. It's something I've carried with me through my entire life, and it's likely one of the reasons why I have the work ethic that I have today. It's likely one of the reasons why I got so far in my career and I made a name for myself around the world. So you can see that by me describing this stupid little RC car that I will never get rid of, because I love this little RC car, because it means so much to me. I busted my butt to get it. That these objects, these what people call replaceable items, are so much more than that. In some cases, yes, they're just replaceable items. They're just consumer goods, and it's crap that we shouldn't be buying. But in a lot of cases, if we have put blood, sweat, and tears into it, if we put time into it, it has a lot more meaning than that. And I would say that those things are irreplaceable. Because again, if you lose those things and you've worked your entire life, or you've really focused yourself and you busted your butt to get that thing, and that's what you really wanted more than anything else, then I would say that's essentially you losing a piece of yourself. And that can be a very tough pill to swallow. Be sure to share your thoughts on this down below. Do you see things the way I see them, where certain things have a lot more meaning than what's on the surface? Or do you see stuff as just that? Materialistic stuff that is easily replaceable? Let me know down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. This tribe, this community continues to grow every single day. It is an amazing thing to see. And stay tuned, because there is some good stuff coming.